going on, guys? Junior's Fishing Company with a little jig today. Now, when I see a pattern like this, pretty simple pattern, but when I look at it kind of like this, it reminds me of a little Trico. I know primarily where I fish, there aren't any Tricos. I fish in lakes and stuff like that, so there aren't Tricos, flying and swimming all over the place, but in a traditional Trico, you've kind of got those two wings, you've got the little tail, and in this case I do have three little kind of prongs sticking out of this tail. It's not meant to be a Trico, it just reminds me of that. It's a really simple pattern. Some crystal flash, some wire, thread, a little bit of dubbing, obviously a nice little tungsten bead on there. I'm not going to tie this exact pattern up, but I just kind of wanted to show you my reasoning for the name of this. I'm just thinking Trico. At the end of this video, I can show you a couple different colors and combinations. This really reminds me of like a Higa's SOS in the fact that you are basically limited to just the amount of thread colors and wire colors you have, and beads too, but you can tie up this in so many different colors and sizes and weights and things like that. Today I've got just a little 46-47 Daiichi. This is a size 16. Daiichi 46-47s run a little bit bigger, so you hear 16 and you think, in my opinion, it's a pretty small hook, but these 46-47s they do run a bit bigger, I think, in terms of hook sizes. I've got a 5/32 matte black tungsten bead on there, and I've just got a little bit of 0.015 lead wire on there, really just to kind of hold the bead in place. I really don't need a 5/32 isn't 3/16 is a pretty heavy bead. 5/32 isn't anything to write home about. It's not a super heavy bead, but it's got plenty of weight on it to get it where you want to go. So what I'm going to do with this tail and the wings, I've just got a single piece of crystal flash here. I'm going to do a black and chartreuse pattern on this one. Again, I can show you a couple different, I've got half a dozen or so just different colors that I've been messing with. I'm going to take just a single strand of crystal flash, I think this is chartreuse, and I'm really just going to kind of cut it in half, and then I'll fold that in half, get all four of those pieces in my finger, and I'll just cut both of those in half, and then I'll fold it in half one more time. So you're gonna use about one piece of crystal flash per bait. You'll have a little bit left over, so I'm just gonna take three of these pieces, and I can kind of just set the rest aside. And I'm gonna put these in. You don't have to measure a tail here, because when you tie a pheasant tail in, you can't trim it. But with something like this, you can trim as much as you want. So I'm just gonna put, I don't know, if I wanted to measure it out, probably a hook shank and a half, but you can put 4 inches after this, and you really won't have to worry about it too much, because you can just trim it at the end. You can trim this tail to be the exact length of the wings that you tie in. You can do whatever you want. So I'm just gonna put that, I just want that kind of sitting off. These crystal flashes are a little bit difficult to kind of get exactly where you want. I'm using 140 denier black right now, because I'm gonna have to build up a little bit of a body here. When I trim these off, just this little extra, it's almost a perfect amount to do another set. So if you're tying a bunch of the same, you can save this little bit. Again, that's like 1/8 of a piece of crystal flash, so you're not, it's not expensive hackle or anything that you want to maybe reuse. So again, I'll trim that tail up. I'm going to build up this body. I'm going to put my wire down first, then I can build it up, but I'll just put a little bit of thread up here. I'm using small chartreuse wire. I just tied one up in medium. I didn't have any brassy. If I had brassy chartreuse, that's what I would be using. Most of the ones I've been tying have been brassy size. Brassy is such a perfect in between. It's not too small, it's not too big. Medium can run pretty big, especially on a small hook like this. But I didn't have any brassy chartreuse. Of course, there's always a list of materials I need on my phone. I swear every fly I tie, I make another list of stuff. It's just never ending. I gotta be kind of careful. I do want a little bit of a bigger body on this, but really the two hardest parts about this, tying this up, is gonna be the wings, keeping the wings nice and straight. You really don't have to care about that much, the fish don't. And then just making a nice even body. I've been messing around with some Perdigones style jigs and things like that. And the hardest part about those is just making a really even body. So I'm uncording my thread pretty much every time I go up or down on this hook shank, if not twice. And you can kind of just see when you need to do it. I like to have a bunch of thread out. You can see I've got, 2-3 inches of thread out, because then I can see when it starts to cord up. If you just have a little bit of thread out, it can be a little bit trickier to see when you need to uncord your thread. And again, this is a nice fat body. I wanted a nice fat body for this, because some of them I've been tying have been pretty thin, but I wanted to do one with a fatter body. So I'm just going to whip finish this off, and I'm going to put down some 70 denier, just because I don't want to build up too much of a thread collar. I've got just a little bit of dubbing I'm going to put down, but I'm first going to put my Crystal Flash wings down. Now you could, I've got, 5 pieces here. You could put all of these down if you want. I'm just gonna do 3 just to match the tail, and then I can wrap my small chartreuse wire. I've got this wire's a little bit kinked, but I don't think I'm gonna need to worry about that. I'll do, 4 wraps maybe. That's 3. Because I'm going to kind of go right up to, I'm going to have just a little bit of a dubbing collar. Really, the dubbing is just going to help keep down keep my wings where I want them. So I'll kind of get that off. And then I can put these wings down. I'm just going to match the tail. You could put down 1 little strand of Crystal Flash. You could put down 6. It's really up to you on what you want to do. So I'm just going to lay that right on top, and I'm going to get that right in the middle. I just want that to be as in the middle as I can, and I shouldn't be moving this too much. I only have 1 wrap on here. I'm going to try and keep this as straight off as I can. Again, this Crystal Flash just really doesn't like, it's actually kind of just a little finicky to work with, and that's why I'm going to end up putting some dubbing down. But I need to anchor these down first, so I'll just do some wraps, and I'll get that kind of pushed up. Just a few wraps, and then I'm going to get my dubbing. So what my dubbing is going to be is, I just chose, this is just superfine dry fly dubbing. This is going to be black. This dubbing just gets so tight on your thread, as opposed to something, if I was using hare's mask or some sort of natural, or a lot of synthetics too. This stuff just, I'm going to build a really long dubbing strand, you can see there, and I'm just going to start wrapping this. I'm really at first going to kind of focus on making sure that this Crystal Flash on your side is going to be, I pushed it up there, then I'll wrap it this way, and that should be good. And then I can come right around here and wrap right over there, and a little bit of a loose dubbing, but that's all right. I'll just put a little wrap there, kind of get that pushed down, and then I can really just grab my whip finisher. I don't want to build up too much here. The good thing is this blends in so well with that dubbing, you're not going to be able to see my thread anyway. If I was using a chartreuse with black, it would be, you'd have a little bit of a chartreuse coming out of that thread, or coming out of that dubbing, which is totally fine, but I'm just really going to kind of trim these and just make them even. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can do them really long, you can do them really short, however you want. And then I can come in here, and again, I would rather trim it a little bit long and then keep kind of trimming it off than do one really short one and then regret it. So you can see that that sticks right off the back of the tail. I mean, really, if you want to just make these, all three of them even, you could just do that. But a really simple tie. But I really like this. It's got a little bit of flash in it. It's going to be a jig, so it's going to sit like this. Again, I'm going to be primarily using this for winter perch, crappies, bluegill, stuff like that. But I might end up trimming these a little bit shorter. Really cool pattern. Little Trico jig, size 16, Daiichi 4647, little 5/32 on there. I've got a bunch of other ones I've been tying. I can show you a bigger one. This was I think this might be a size 12 Daiichi 4647 with 3/16. This is just a fire hole, I think very berry in 3/16. Really cool, black again. A lot of these turned out to be black. But another one, kind of like the first one I showed you at the beginning, except for this has just a really oversized silver bead on it, just because I do really like a heavy jig, especially if I'm fishing deeper and stuff like that. But there's a million ways to skin this cat. You could do bright orange. This was a thinner, one of the thinner bodies that I tied up. I do like the thinner ones, but I did want to tie kind of a thicker one like the one I just did, just to add a little bit, because those are such short hooks, those 16s. Again, I think this is a 14 or a 12 with just really bright. This is glow bright thread that I used on this one. Really bright. But Trico jig, Junior's Fishing Company. Like and subscribe, drop some comments below. It's winter time. Got all the winter stuff out. I've been trying to get the cobwebs out of. There's a big difference between tying a 3/8 ounce jig and, 5/32 size 16. So it takes a little bit for me to get my hands and my eyes adjusted to seeing these tiny little things. But we'll see you on the next one.